as hard as it is for me to say this, I honestly think that we may need to legalize drugs. Believe it or not, I'm saying that because I was just studying my American Corrections book over there, and they're talking about how crime rates have risen, but also the prisons are increasing and things are just getting really out of control, and you do have minorities and poor people, both minority and, if you will, non-minority, being affected by crime so much, and especially in particular to the drug war. And I think that on this one I kind of agree with Geraldo Rivera and Judge Napolitano, but I also say that one of the things we could do if we're going to legalize these drugs, just like with cigarettes, we obviously need to educate people about these drugs, but we also need to put taxes on them, and taxes that'll be so high that there's no nicer way to put this. If you're going to be an idiot and use some of those drugs, you may as well pay higher amounts for them, and you may as well pay higher taxes on them. And if you want to financially drain yourself and ruin your life and ruin the lives of others, that's your shtick. But I would figure that if you're going to use drugs and if they're taxed so high, you would be pretty desperate. And not only would you be paying a high price with your life, which a classmate of mine recently did, and he unfortunately used OxyContin, but you'd also literally be paying a high price with your wallet. So I say that if nothing else, we should legalize drugs. We should educate people against using them, and for those who would use drugs, we should tax them as high as you can tax them. And by the way, for people who commit crimes while they're on drugs, or due to drugs, or whatever else you might want to call it, we ought to make the sentences stricter so that that'll definitely discourage people from using drugs. So for example, if I'm high on cocaine and I go and steal my neighbor's car and drive it and do whatever with it, I could get charged with, it would be larceny in that case, or grand theft, because I'm stealing a car here. And then also they can make an aggravating factor the fact that I was under the influence of a drug while stealing the car, not just stealing the car, but that I was under a drug influence while stealing the car. And I think that we ought to make the aggravating factors like that much stricter, but at the same time legalize the drugs. Although, as I said, we would also tax the drugs as high as they can be taxed and educate people to discourage them from using them. And as I said also, tax the drugs that high, because you would have to be pretty desperate if we're educating you not to use them in order for you to use them.